Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the 5-Minute English Practice. I'm Jessica, and I'm really glad you're here today. Today's topic is a serious one, but it's also very human. It's something many of us think about quietly, especially when life starts to feel repetitive or empty, even when everything looks fine on the outside. Today, we're talking about one simple idea: don't waste your life. That sentence sounds heavy and maybe even a little scary, but we're not here to judge anyone or tell you how to live. We're just having an honest conversation about time, choices, fear, comfort, and how easy it is to slowly waste your life without even noticing. And I'm not alone today. I'm here with Emily, someone who thinks deeply and isn't afraid to talk about uncomfortable topics. Hi, Emily. How are you feeling today?
Hi, Jessica. I'm doing well, and honestly, I'm really glad we're talking about this. This topic feels very real to me. When people hear "don't waste your life," they often imagine something dramatic, like making a huge mistake. But for me, wasting life usually happens quietly. It happens when days start to feel the same, when we stop asking ourselves questions, and when we live on autopilot. That's the scary part, because it doesn't feel wrong at first. It feels normal.
I really relate to that. I think many people believe they're not wasting their life because they're busy. They're working, taking care of responsibilities, doing what they're supposed to do. But inside, they feel disconnected. They wake up tired, go through the day, and go to sleep without feeling satisfied. And over time, that feeling becomes familiar. Do you think people notice when this starts happening? Or do you think it usually takes a long time before they realize it?
I think for most people, it takes a long time. At the beginning, it just feels like stress or tiredness. People tell themselves it's normal, that everyone feels this way. And because life keeps moving, they don't stop to question it. It often takes a quiet moment, like a birthday, a photo from the past, or a big change, for people to suddenly realize how much time has passed. That moment can feel painful, but it can also be a wake-up call.
That makes sense. I've noticed that fear plays a big role too. Fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of making the wrong choice. Many people stay in situations they don't enjoy, not because they love them, but because they feel safe. Safety feels comfortable, but it can slowly drain meaning from life. Staying feels easier than changing, even when staying doesn't feel right.
Yes, and people often don't realize that staying has a cost, too. When you stay in a life that doesn't fit you, you slowly lose energy, curiosity, and sometimes even self-respect. You start telling yourself that this is just how life is. But deep down, there's usually a small voice saying, "I want more than this." Ignoring that voice for too long is one of the ways people waste their lives.
I also think being busy has become a way to avoid thinking. People fill their days with work, noise, and entertainment so they don't have to sit quietly with their thoughts. Silence can be uncomfortable because in silence we hear what we've been avoiding. I felt that myself. Have you ever had a moment where silence made you realize something important?
Yes, definitely. I've had moments where everything became quiet, and suddenly I realized that I was doing things just because I was used to them, not because I chose them. Those moments were uncomfortable, but they were also very honest. Silence shows you where you are. And I think many people avoid silence because they're afraid of what they might discover about themselves.
That's so true. And social media makes this even harder. We're always watching other people's lives, comparing ourselves without even noticing it. We see highlights and forget that everyone has struggles. Comparison slowly pulls us away from our own values. Instead of asking, "What do I want?" we start asking, "Am I doing as well as everyone else?"
Comparison is dangerous because it creates confusion. When you're always looking outside, you stop listening inside. And when you don't know what you want, life feels heavy. You might have everything you thought you needed, but you still feel empty. That's often a sign that you're living according to expectations, not your own truth.
Another thing I hear a lot is people saying, "I'll do it later." Later when I have more time. Later when I feel more confident. Later when life is calmer. But later is risky because later is never guaranteed. Life doesn't wait for us to feel ready. Time keeps moving even when we're scared. Do you think people use later as a way to protect themselves from fear?
Yes, I do. Saying later sounds responsible, but often it's just fear in a softer form. People don't want to admit they're scared, so they tell themselves they're being realistic. But waiting also has consequences. When you wait too long, you might wake up one day and realize that the chance you were waiting for has passed.
That idea really hits hard. And I think many people forget that not choosing is still a choice. Even when you don't decide anything, you're still deciding to stay where you are. Life moves in the direction of our habits, not our intentions. What we do every day slowly becomes our life.
Exactly. Small choices matter more than big plans. How you spend your mornings, how you treat your body, who you spend time with, and what you avoid thinking about. These small things shape your future quietly. You don't wake up one day and suddenly waste your life. It happens slowly, step by step.
I often ask myself one question when I feel stuck. If nothing changes, will I be okay with this life in 5 years? Not to scare myself, but to be honest. Because awareness is the first step to change. You can't change what you refuse to see.
That's a very powerful question. It forces you to face reality without judging yourself. And I think it's important to say this clearly. Resting is not wasting your life. Many people confuse rest with laziness, but rest helps you reconnect with yourself. Wasting life is not resting, it's avoiding your truth.
I'm really glad you said that. Life doesn't need to be rushed, but it does need to be lived with intention. If someone listening today feels like they've been wasting their life, I hope they don't feel ashamed. Awareness is not a failure. It's an invitation to choose differently.
Yes, and you don't need to change everything at once. A meaningful life is built slowly. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to grow in a new direction. And you're allowed to live a life that feels true to you, even if others don't understand it.
Thank you, Emily, for this honest conversation. It reminds me that life is fragile, but it's also flexible. We have more control than we think, especially through small daily choices. And to everyone listening, remember this. Your life doesn't need to look impressive to be meaningful. It just needs to feel real to you.
Thank you, Jessica. And if something in this conversation stayed with you, don't rush to forget it. Sit with it. Listen to it. Life doesn't need to be perfect, but it deserves your attention.
Thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourself, be kind to your time, and we'll talk again very soon.